It's time for a Senior Citizens Forum. I'm your host, Janice Wood, and a Senior Citizens Forum is being sponsored by Benefits for You2 Insurance Services, where they specialize in Medicare Advantage Plan, Medicare Supplemental Plans, and prescription drug plans for people that are 65 and over, and for people that are younger than 65 that have qualifying disabilities. And if you want more information on that, you need to contact me. I'm here today with Justin Bithell.
Hi.
My buddy, my insurance agent.
Yes.
Okay. With Farmers Insurance. And Justin has a background now of about 7 years with Farmers Insurance.
Yep.
He's done securities.
Before that, yeah.
Before that,
yeah.
He has an extensive background, financial background, which goes along with insurance, believe it or not. It happens to go, it's an important part of knowing that in the insurance world. And Justin is a very active father with two young boys. Hey, and Justin is real active with his two sons.
Yeah.
I know they're in a lot of different activities. And I always appreciate a parent that participates with their children, and they have the time to participate, or they make the time to participate. It's real important.
Oh, thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, but we are going to talk today about an umbrella policy. And I remember calling Justin up a couple of years ago and said, hey, I have homeowners, I have car insurances with you. What is an umbrella policy and what can it do for me?
Right. And so umbrella policy is not property damage coverage. So it does not cover your home or your car from any type of damage. What it does cover is against lawsuits. So it's liability protection that goes above and beyond what you have on your auto insurance and your homeowner's insurance and rental properties or vacation properties, RVs, motorcycles, things like that.
So if I have, let's say, coverage on my car, and somebody's suing me for more than my coverage if I was in an accident.
Exactly.
Will the umbrella policy pick that up?
That's when the umbrella policy would kick in. Yeah. So the umbrella policy kicks in when the limits of the underlying coverage has been exhausted. So depends on your auto insurance coverage, depends on your homeowner's insurance coverage. If you have a boat or an RV, you know what your coverage is there. It goes beyond, goes above that, as long as you have it listed on the umbrella policy. So with everything that you add, the price goes up. Obviously, not too much, but a little bit, and so everybody's price is a little different as a result, but it will cover in case something bad happens, right? More often than not, these are extreme circumstances.
Okay, so what about my homeowner's insurance or even renter's insurance? If I had renter's insurance, would I get an umbrella policy?
You could get one. This is for people that have assets to protect. So there are circumstances where renters have enough assets to protect where they would want an umbrella policy. More often than not, it's a homeowner, but not always. I remember a very wealthy family that was a client, that is a client of mine. They sold their house, and there was about a year or two in between them buying their next house. And during that time, they had renters policies, but they still wanted that umbrella because they were very well off.
So for me as a senior, and seniors usually will have more assets than if you're 30 years old and you're just starting out.
One would hope, yes.
You definitely one would hope. So maybe you sold your home and you moved into an apartment, a senior complex.
Right.
Okay, but you still would have assets.
Yeah, money in the bank, and
right.
Maybe some toys, maybe a motorcycle or an RV or.
Well, I mean, so if I sold my home and I moved into a senior community, or even it could be townhouses or condos, you still may have assets, and that property is still worth something. And you still need to protect those assets if somebody is going to sue you for whatever reason.
Yeah, whatever reason. You maybe something happened on your property, and you weren't even necessarily involved, but it was on your property, and as the homeowner, you're now liable, or or it's a bad car accident, or all sorts of different circumstances result in hitting the umbrella, and it's getting hit more and more and more frequently, where it used to be an extremely rare circumstance, and that is not the case anymore.
That's interesting. So it's really increased over the years. Would it have increased because seniors, the population is becoming more seniors? I mean, the baby boomers are working into retirement age and buying toys, which would be boats and.
I think it's a result of inflation. So inflation over the years, the liability limits have stayed the same over the last around 50 years. But a home, for instance, in Southern California went from being maybe $100,000 to now well over $1 million in that time frame. So if you're a homeowner owning a home that's worth $1.2, $1.3 million, and somebody's going to sue you for everything that they have based on the circumstance that happened, you need an umbrella to cover that. It doesn't matter how high your homeowner's liability limits are, it's not enough to even cover the value of the home, much less everything else you own, without an umbrella being involved. And that wasn't the case 40 years ago, right? In 1982, 1983, whatever, that was not necessarily the case, where hospital bills weren't that much money and time off of work wasn't that much money, and so the umbrella was very rarely hit, and that was an extremely bad circumstance with very wealthy people. Now it's pretty much anybody that owns a home.
Yeah, because one of the things, I was reading an article yesterday and it was said there's 8 insurances that you need to have, and the umbrella was one of the 8 insurances you need to have. And so one of the things I want to say real quickly, when you buy an umbrella policy or any form of policy, you're not buying it because you're going to make money from it. You're buying it to protect your assets. So like I do health insurances, you're buying it because medical's so expensive that you're doing it to protect yourself from those expenses. So you don't know. It's buying for the unforeseen, and the problem is the unforeseen is, as Justin just said, is becoming more and more common.
Very, very, very common. I equate an umbrella policy to a reverse lottery ticket, right? So you buy a lottery ticket, you spend maybe $10, and you get a ticket, and hopefully you get millions of dollars. It's the exact opposite with an umbrella. You spend a little bit of money, and then God forbid a really bad circumstance happens and there's millions of dollars on the other side.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So you are protecting your personal. Just real quickly, I'm a senior, but I have a business.
Yes, you do.
Okay. What will that umbrella policy protect for my business?
So there's personal umbrella and there's a commercial umbrella. So a personal umbrella policy, which is what we're talking about today, It'd be a whole different ball of wax.
Right, okay, but that is out there in case anybody is interested.
Yes,
in
business owners should consider that if they have those types of risks. But but in regards to a personal umbrella, it would protect you personally as the business owner from losing your individual assets, but it would not protect your business's liability in any way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is something completely separate. Like
Yes.
I know I have errors and omissions
Right.
insurance, and that's separate.
Yeah, personal
from
umbrella would not cover that at all.
that. Okay.
Yeah, let's not go into that.
But it's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just something to bring up. But if I wanted to add that to it,
No, you'd need a commercial umbrella.
a commercial umbrella.
Yeah, commercial
Okay.
umbrella would cover commercial risks.
Okay.
So like workers' comp or whatever would be covered for business owners. That's an important coverage to have as well.
Okay. Very good. So, when would it come in handy?
So I'll give a couple examples. So, like I said, it would come in handy when an extreme circumstance happens, but these extreme circumstances are becoming less and less extreme because of inflation. So some examples of someone that ended up needing the umbrella would be a client of mine. She had a dog, was walking her dog. Another dog came up and attacked her dog, and in the melee, the guy of the dog that was attacking fell down the hill. Tumbled down the hill, had a few $100,000 in medical expenses, and that exhausted her. He sued her, won, and that exhausted her homeowner's insurance, and then it was the umbrella that was paying out and covering her legal expenses after that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so one of the questions I would ask you if I was sitting there as a homeowner, okay, going, oh, my homeowner's insurance is so expensive as it is, and it's not going to cover everything?
So, no, I mean, homeowners insurance is getting more and more expensive. It is, but and much more than inflation this past year or so. No, the maximum you can get on an individual homeowner's policy is $1 million in liability protection.
Okay. And if you live in our area, because we're from Southern California, okay, and we have heavy droughts, we have heavy floods. We just recently are going through the last 2 years floods, went from droughts to floods.
That's the floods, yeah.
Right, and then we also have a lot of fires.
Yes.
So would that umbrella policy pick up on some of those, say the flooding or the?
No, it does not cover property damage at all. Umbrella is strictly a liability coverage. So if you were liable for someone else's damage,
Okay.
it would protect against that. So another example of that, this was not a particularly wealthy client. This was a client that owned a condo and was struggling to make ends meet, but she caused a kitchen fire, and that kitchen fire spread past her unit and damaged a bunch of other units that were connected to her unit, and so the overall damages was over $4 million.
Wow.
So for her to have been adequately covered, she did have an umbrella, but she only had $1 million in coverage, and she had $500,000 in homeowners protection beyond that. So the insurance company paid out $1.5 million, but in order for her to have been fully covered, she would have needed a $4 million umbrella just for the chance of her damaging the other units in her complex.
So who paid for that? The homeowners association, or who?
The homeowners association was involved, and then they were looking to reclaim money, and and then obviously they went after her assets once the insurance was was exhausted, and that case is still going on.
I just see this massive legal.
Oh yeah,
mess
no,
with that.
and see, that's one thing that a lot of people underestimate is even if you end up not being liable, in some cases the legal costs can be overwhelming. So you want that protection, if for no other reason, to eliminate those legal fees.
Okay.
Because once an insurance company pays out the policy limits, they're not paying your legal fees. They're done. They're done with the transaction. But the way it works with any liability, including umbrella, they will pay out that liability protection is what they will pay out in settlement costs. The legal fees defending you are separate from that and not counted against you. So in some cases it might be a couple $100,000 in legal fees before they pay out that $1 million or whatever, and they're not even counting that $200,000 in legal fees against you for that settlement. They're just taking care of it. So a good example of that one. Another important aspect of umbrella insurance is that it covers you personally for liability in ways that your homeowners does not cover you. So defamation and slander and libel are covered perils under umbrella. And so we had a client who was going through a nasty divorce, and the soon-to-be ex-husband filed a false tax return on her business. Excuse me. Filed a false tax return on her business. And this, so when she filed the real tax return, the IRS came to her and said that she needed to repay all the money that they gave him, plus penalties, plus interest, and then what her business actually owed in taxes. She found out about this, figured out who the CPA was, filed a complaint with the IRS, filed a complaint with the Franchise Tax Board, filed negative reviews online, Google and Yelp and whatnot. And she got sued for defamation. Now, of course, this isn't going to go anywhere, right? What damages does this CPA have, right? He was committing fraud, or he's helping his client commit fraud. He can't say, well, you reporting that reality to me is ruining my business. His actions did that. However, it took 2 years and over $60,000 in legal fees to defend herself. She did not have an umbrella. She should have had an umbrella, but she decided not to get one, and so she had to be out of pocket all of that.
Okay, very interesting. Well, we need to take a break. It's time to hear from our sponsor, and we will be right back.
Here at Benefits for You 2 Insurance Services, we believe knowledge is power when it comes to selecting the correct healthcare and Medicare insurance. Please contact us at healthcareoptions@benefitsforyou2.com or call us at 310-245-0332.
Hi, it's Senior Citizens Forum. I'm your host, Janice Wood. We're back from hearing from our sponsor, and I'm here with Justin Bithell of Farmers Insurance, and we've been talking about umbrella policies and how they work and how it protects your personal assets. And Justin has some more cute stories to tell us. I mean, Farmers Insurance is really good about telling stories. Okay, I love the that actor that gets on and has all those.
Oh, and I'm sure all of those are true too.
Right.
Because just in my agency alone,
Right.
the stories, especially when they hit umbrella, because those are usually doozies.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like it. So do you have any other interesting stories to tell us about how people are protecting their assets when they have to use that umbrella policy?
Sure. Just like random anecdotes as far as like when something would come up. Here's one. Client had a young teenager driving, hit one of his vehicles. So, he'd just gotten his license and, whatever. And he stopped just a little past the intersection, the crosswalk, sorry. And hit this woman in the belly. She was fine, but it caused her to miscarry. And so that was a $2 million lawsuit.
I mean, you're dealing with so much emotion there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, and yeah, it's but it just happens so fast. Sometimes where it's just like, and it's not like that the client wasn't even in the car, right? His kid was the one driving.
Well, I can see it. I live here at a high school, okay, and it gets gets pretty wild out here, all right. And an accident can happen so quickly.
It always does. It always does.
You look 1 second, and within seconds, somebody is running by the car that. I've been here for over 30 years by this high school, and it has not changed one instant. You would think people would be aware of what's going on, having your kids run in the middle of 5 cars deep.
Right.
And to get them to get out of the neighborhood, it's really scary.
It can be pretty nerve-wracking.
It is. I mean, it's like, don't ever buy a house by any form of a school.
My son does flag football at a local high school.
Yeah.
And the games are Friday afternoons, and if it's an early game, the teenagers are still there, and I mean. Woo! It's interesting just parking.
We could do a whole show just on that, okay? But what I'm trying to say is that you're not planning on that accident.
Oh no! Well, my joke is, because there's plenty of people that will say, "I'm not planning on whatever." The reality is. If you were planning on it, we couldn't sell you the insurance, right?
Yeah.
That's called insurance fraud at that point. That's not, these are always things that just happen, and if you're a good person, they happen just from randomness, right? It's a kitchen fire. You just you didn't break quite enough, or whatever. It's not, but I mean, there, obviously there's all sorts of ones where bad things really happen or whatever.
I can remember years ago, I'm in downtown Los Angeles. I'm with my carpool, because at that time I was working in downtown, and we would carpool with a bunch of people, and I'm in a 4-car accident.
Oh geez.
Okay. A municipality's car came and hit the car behind me.
Okay.
And that person, instead of putting on their brakes, they stepped on the accelerator, which pushed me into the car in front of me. Actually, it was 5 cars that pushed the car in front of them.
Oh my God.
And this was all standing still.
Right.
Now, what if I had an existing injury or something, okay? Which I've talked about in previous shows with a lawyer that does that. He knows the lawyer, Julie Liu, okay?
Yeah.
Right, and we've talked about pre-existing conditions that come up, but you don't know when the accident's gonna happen. And I don't remember how many people were involved, but there were 4 people in my car, which included me.
Jeez.
Who knew I don't remember how many other people were involved.
Yeah,
and we weren't even moving. I mean, we were bumper to bumper traffic.
And that municipality, is going to be out a lot of money. Right?
Yes.
But I mean, they're going to be insured. But
right, but my insurance was out. I mean, because it just triggered.
Oh yeah, and then they all went after the municipality in the end. Yeah.
And but you don't know when an accident's going to happen. That's the point I'm trying to make. You could be sitting on the freeway, and all of a sudden, you're standing still, and all of a sudden, boom, somebody hits you from the back.
Right. Yeah, no, it's yeah. I mean, a lot of these things just happen real fast. So, or you're not even necessarily involved, but you're liable nonetheless. So, another one was a client took in a homeless person that was a friend of theirs. So, knew that this person was going to be out on the streets if they didn't take them in. And so, hey, we have an extra bedroom. Why don't you just stay here for a couple days until you get, figure something else out, kind of thing. And so she was so grateful that she decided to clean the bathroom for them while they were at work. And I'm not sure what cleaner. Yeah, I'm not sure what cleaner she used, but apparently it was flammable. And she lit a candle before using it.
Oh.
And, just, destroyed their bathroom, like literally destroyed the bathroom. And she had 3rd-degree burns from it. And so she sued them for the 3rd-degree burns, that she in fact caused to herself. But the fact that they owned the home and they let her in the home meant that she was liable, that they were liable for that.
So the umbrella policy covered that?
Yeah, the umbrella policy covered that.
I have another one for you. Okay. So we live in this computer age.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what happens would the umbrella policy cover if I was hacked?
No, not for that, but it would cover for liability. So if for whatever reason you ended up getting sued for, like I said, being, due to some sort of circumstance in which you ended up being liable for certain things, but usually that can be understood once it's determined that it was.
So if I'm scammed.
If you're scammed, there's another protection called identity theft protection.
Okay.
That would cover that. Most of those things end up working itself out in the end anyway. Like the banks will forgive that, and will undo those transactions. But a lot of times where that ends up coming in handy is a lot of times on your homeowner's insurance you can get say up to $30,000 or $50,000 in protection, and that's enough money while things are being worked out, so that way you can make your mortgage and and all those things and not be out.
Okay. Well, we're talking about hacking and scamming, so this leads us into it's time to beat scamming and hacking with Arash.
Okay.
Arash, let's talk about scamming today.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, so what is scamming?
Scamming is if someone or an organization or a group want to connect to anything valuable from you. For example, to your bank, to your insurance, to any account, Yahoo, Gmail, emails in general, or anything that's valuable to you. So
Valuable, that's your personal information that leads into your value.
That's exactly right,
Yeah.
yes. And that's the way. It's very important to know the valuable things have a good protection behind them, and then we're going to talk more about that as well. So that's in general is when they try to do that, and they have different ways to do that as well, that we're going to go over it today as well.
Yeah, we're going to go over that as quickly as we can, okay?
Sure. Yeah.
So if I want to protect myself from scamming, to me it's an overwhelming subject.
Sure.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I would say the first thing, scamming can come email, scamming can come a phone call, scamming
mail.
can come in the mail.
I got a mail last week from IRS. Yeah, that you owe this tax, and then I checked with my CPA, and he said it's a scam.
Right, it's a scam.
Yeah.
Or it can come from, anywhere. Somebody knocking at your door.
Exactly. That's very true. And then, but we have to understand when the scammers try to come and then to access to your important information in different ways that you explained. First step, the traditional way, and nowadays still we use passwords. So very important to use correct passwords for our information.
Okay, so that would be like on your email.
For your email, for your bank account, for your even for your when you have the water bill,
Right.
electricity bill, those important. Do not use, for example, the password for your bank account for your water bill.
Right.
Do not use your email password for it. So that's
And
very
don't use your
important.
birthday.
Exactly. Don't use your name. Don't use your phone. Say, and lots of time you have person that helping you or an IT company or someone that knows more, and they say you have to have a complicated password. Do not say no. I don't want it. I want my welcome one explanation.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, it's going to depend because I know banks require certain passwords
Perfect, yes.
and protection. Medical, if I go into, I call it my chart for where I go,
course.
they have extra protection for going in.
They have extra
But
protection.
I thought I was scammed the other day. Somebody called, I think it wasn't a phone call, I think it was a text message saying, oh, all your email accounts and your bank accounts have all been, what is it called?
Compromised.
Yes. And I'm going, well, who are you?
That's exactly right. So, and the very good example, Janice, on this text messages that when you receive, do not reply. Why? You know why? Because they want to see if your phone is active. Is it a real phone? And whatever answer you say, they're going to use your phone for scamming and for spoofing. And it means, have you seen someone call you with a very legit phone, like 949-714 area
Yeah.
code, and then you pick up and you see, oh, that's someone that's, want to advertise or scam or whatever. So do not just click on report and report it, and then put it in the junk. So it's never going to come from that text without opening and replying it.
I mean, so it's real important that you don't open up those emails or those text messages that tell you that
That's exactly right.
that you've been compromised,
That's exactly right. And
or you need to contact them to talk to you about it.
talk to
Don't call them.
So in general, scamming again is when people or organizations, someone want to connect or to your valuable information. It's, as you said, they can knock on your door, they want to get your the email address, bank account, all these things.
Yeah.
So very important to understand who are these scammers. If someone call you, do not panic and say, oh, this is a legit. Check with someone that knows more first, or do a little research, then reply back.
Okay, thank you, Arash. This has been really great.
My
Come
pleasure.
back next week to a Senior Citizens Forum, and we will talk about how to protect yourself from those
For sure.
scammers.
Yeah, have a great day.
Okay,
Thank you.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Arash. The information that you always help us with is really great, and we have to protect ourselves from those scammers and hackers. It's so important, and we were talking about that earlier with Justin with the umbrella policies and what your homeowner's insurance will protect you with that.
Yeah, homeowners and from defamation
Yeah.
and slander and libel, and any type of circumstances that result in that, with umbrella,
It's just like, it's one of, scamming and hacking is one of my personal peeves as a senior.
Right? Yeah. No, it's getting it's getting so sophisticated now. It's it's unnerving the level of sophistication.
It is very scary, like
Yeah.
Hacker's Way. I mean,
Right.
right. Okay, but right now let's go back to that umbrella policy. How expensive are they?
So they're surprisingly inexpensive. A lot that's oftentimes what our first question is with clients when we talk about umbrella is, oh geez, this sounds expensive, and the answer is it's surprisingly inexpensive. Depends on the situation. Obviously, if you have a bad driving record, it's going to cost more than a good driving record. If you've been sued a bunch of times, it's going to be more than if you hadn't. And it depends on what things are covered. If you have multiple homes, it's going to be more than if you only have one. And if you have boats and RVs, it's going to be more than if you just have 2 cars. But as a whole, it's it generally speaking, for a normal family, it's around $400 to $500 a year per $1 million in coverage. So it doesn't end up being really all that expensive in the end, and then it's just a matter of what would realistically make somebody go away if there really was that bad circumstance, and not go after your home, not go after your business, not go after your cars or your savings accounts, and whatever else, other assets you have, and instead just be satisfied with the insurance money and then go away. As long as you can keep it at the limit of the insurance company or less, then you're not going to have to worry about legal fees or anything like that. And it's really an inexpensive way to have peace of mind.
And it's like all insurances, you're buying it to protect yourself from the unexpected.
Right.
And I don't know what else to say. I've been an insurance agent for a while now, and things happen.
And surprising amount of times things happen, but that's the nature of my business.
Yeah, that's a nature, and that's what insurance is out there for. And if you're lucky to be one of those people that never had to have used it, congratulations. But if you're someone that has to have it and wish they had it, you can't get it after you.
You either had it in place or you didn't when the time comes. And unfortunately, like I said, these things happen so fast, and then once something happens, it's just a matter of how much you have. So if you look at some of these cities, for instance, they might have 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10 different umbrella policies that stack on top of each other. And so one company is sitting here trying to figure out how to, okay, well, we'll cover if there's a lawsuit that's more than 27 million but less than 35, and and then there's another one that covers 35 and beyond, or whatever.
So if I own property in another state,
yes,
or even
still
another,
covers you. Still covers.
You're covered.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have
It's
to
worldwide
have
protection.
a separate property,
It's
separate umbrella for
No.
each property.
No, you would just need it listed on the policy.
Okay, and that's, of course, is going to increase the amount, because you were just talking about stacking umbrella policies under.
So an umbrella policy, it covers, it literally is what its name suggests. It's covering up above, on all the other policies. So as long as that policy that, in New Zealand or whatever has coverage in place, that meets that minimum standard, and it's listed on the umbrella policy, you will be covered.
Well, again, Justin, this has been really fun.
Yes, it has. Thank you for having me.
It's been really great. We learned a lot about umbrella policies, and we'd love to have you back sometime in the future.
I would love to be back.
Okay,
Well, thank you.
it's been a lot of fun, and thank you everyone for watching us. It's you guys all have a great day, and make sure you have the proper insurances to have you covered. And if you want Justin's information, we will have it listed on the show information. Thank you.
Thank you.